yogis and yoginis. My name is Ali. Today I will be breaking down two key components of a Surya Namaskar A, or Sun Salutation A. The two parts that we'll be breaking down is the floating forward and floating back. Today we're going to be practicing skills to get us there, not necessarily the float itself. All we need for props is your yoga mat, and then one of these four things. Either fuzzy socks that will allow you to slide forward and back, a yoga blanket to place underneath your feet, or if you happen to have these discs, these are very common in bar and Pilates classes, plastic on top, foam on the bottom, which will allow you to slide a little bit more intentionally. The last prop that you may or may not want to use today is a paper plate. That's a great substitute for these discs. So since I have the discs, that's what I'll be using today. Before we get into the Surya Namaskar, we're going to talk a little bit about the four steps, the four components that will help us be a bit more successful in this. So I'll be starting in tabletop just to show you my fingers, my wrists, my shoulders, and then we'll take this into the Surya Namaskar A. Beginning in tabletop, I'll be spreading my fingers, taking my hands a little bit wider than shoulder width, and for today's purposes, I'm pointing my fingers slightly in. This will create a little bit more space for my shoulder mobility. Once I have my hands on the earth, I'm going to spread my fingers, press finger pads so much so into the earth that possibly your middle knuckle lifts. Doesn't always happen that way, but another nice guide is to notice your fingernails. If you're pressing firmly into the earth, your fingernails may turn slightly white. Once you have strong base in your fingers and hands, I invite you to imagine you're pulling your finger pads into the palm of your hand, again to get that mo'o, as we call it in Hawaii, that gecko grip. Then noticing my shoulders, I'm going to protract my shoulders, lift my scapula up to the sky, and bring my shoulders up towards my ears. Lastly, I'm going to shift myself forward, taking shoulders past my wrists. When we do begin to float specifically forward, we're going to have that key action of tucking your thighs to your chest. So this is that overall shape. From here, we're going to flow through an entire Surya Namaskar A. We'll pause and slow down to break down the parts of floating both forward and back. Begin either on your blanket, your discs, or your paper plates. And if you're wearing fuzzy socks, you don't need any of those, just put on those fuzzy socks. Begin in a standing position. Place your feet firmly on the earth, press your big toe, pinky toe, side of your foot down. Press firmly into the earth and then energetically separate your shins away from one another. Have a strong foundation, tuck your belly in, roll your shoulders down your back, palms face forward, pinkies in. As we inhale, reach arms overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, hold here. If you have tight hamstrings like myself, you may shift a little bit more forward, create a bit more space, or walk your feet back just slightly. Place your hands on the earth, turn your fingertips slightly in. Then, as you press into your finger pads, you'll shift forward, come onto your heels, send your shoulders past your wrists. Get a little bit lighter in your feet. As you exhale, slowly lower down at about a 45-degree angle. Then drop down to your knees, drop to your chest. Inhale, roll your shoulders up and then down your back. Depress your shoulders, lift up for low cobra. Exhale, surrender on down, tuck your toes, dorsiflex your feet, lift your knees. Then come up through a high plank to down dog. Be mindful if you have something under your feet, it may be a little bit more difficult. Then shift your biceps forward, triceps back. As you inhale, lift your heels, gaze forward, finger pads, press, press, press. Start to shift your shoulders over your wrists and past your wrists. Protract your shoulders, send your shoulders up towards your ears. Maybe you get so light that your legs even come to the front. Big thighs to belly. Inhale, look halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, surrender and hold. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. I hope this video helped you think about the key actions to support you as you begin to think about floating forward and back. Like anything, it's that time under tension, the more practice that you get, following the anatomical cueing, and practice, practice, practice. Thank you so much, and until next time,